Hello, this is Faerytale Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. The artwork is incredible, and you may recognize this artist, Jasmine Beckett Griffith. The publisher is Blue Angel Publishing. And what I'm going to do is show you a few cards so you can get an idea of the art and whether it resonates with you. And then I will pull a card so you can also evaluate the guidebook and whether that speaks to you or not. Here we go. I am going to start out by showing you the guidebook, how thick it is. You get an idea of how long the descriptions are. 1, 2, 3. Let's look at the next one. Oh, 3. 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3. There's probably a 4 in here snuck in and maybe a 2. Anyway, that's how long the descriptions are, and I will be pulling you a card in just a minute to give you an idea of how the guidebook is worded to see if that resonates with you. Now, as to cardstock, this is thick cardstock. You are not going to have any complaints about this cardstock unless you just find that that makes it a stiff deck when you first get it. All right, now I am going to pull a card for you so you can see if you like the way this guidebook is worded. All right, Spirit, may I have a card for the people that are watching this video? And our card is the Wood Maiden Trust. I'll be right back. The maiden smiled at her and said in a sweet voice, "Batushka, do you like to dance?" Her manner was so gracious that Batushka no longer felt afraid and answered, "Oh, I could dance all day long." A tale of a little girl living alone with her mother in a tumble-down cottage and 2 little goats. The little girl, despite their circumstances, is always cheerful and in good spirits. Her energy is a delight to be around. She loves the birch wood near the cottage where the goats are pastured in the warm times. Her job is to care for the goats and spin their fleece throughout the day. "Be sure to bring home a full spindle, Batushka," for that is her name, is told each day, and she does. She would go to the birch wood with the trees, and within their embrace she would dance and invent wondrous games and sing to the goats, to the trees also, and to the birds. She would wind the goat's fleece about her head and dance, and after a time of this she would go beneath a tree and begin to spin the wool, humming as she went about her work. Each day her mother gave her a piece of bread, so she was not too hungry and happy. Batushka had no distaff, so she wound the flax around her head. Then she took the little basket and went romping and singing behind the goats to the birch wood. When they got there, she sat down under a tree and pulled the fibers of the flax from her head with her left hand, and with her right hand let down the spindle so that it went humming along the ground. All the while she sang until the woods echoed and the little goats nibbled away at the leaves and grass. When the sun showed midday, she put the spindle aside, called the goats, and gave them a mouthful of bread so that they wouldn't stray, and ran off into the woods to hunt berries or any other wild fruit that was in season. Then, when she had finished her bread and fruit, She jumped up, folded her arms, and danced and sang. While in the birch wood, she would find wild strawberries and raspberries to eat and bring sweetness to her life. And never a frown nor a moment's discontent came to the little girl. She was a sweet and merry little shepherdess, yet she worked hard and always filled the basket with her spinning, so she was a great help to her mother, and the goats loved her dearly. One day, right as the sun had reached its highest, Batushka spread her arms, ready to whirl in her own invented dance of love to the wood, to life. But she was no longer alone. Before her stood a most beautiful maiden, dressed in clothes spun from cobwebs, flowers of the forest in her hair, and long golden hair which fell to her waist. Batushka's mouth fell open in a perfect O of surprise. "Batushka," said the maiden, without moving her lips, "do you love to dance?" She was so kind, her voice so gentling, that Batushka suddenly felt her heart fill with sunshine. "Yes," she answered with a bright and sweet smile, "I could dance all day long." So she and the maiden danced. As they danced, tall, slender beings with hair of gold and skin of white came forward, playing instruments made of wood and stone, delicate as flowers, and the music was the sweetest ever heard. Birds joined them, and the birds sung a song of the wild things, enchanting, unlike any other sound heard by human ears. Batushka forgot everything but the dance, so complete and alive she felt. They danced till the sun fell from the sky in a sudden dip, and when that last ray of gold penetrated the forest, the maiden vanished, along with the orchestra, and finally only the birds remained, singing the song to call their young to the nests. Batushka was unhappy for the first time. She fretted. She had not done her work, and her mother needed her help. She fell to silence, and even the goats felt her sadness and wondered at what was wrong. In this tale, as you can see, there is a balance between working and the life of dance. Batushka is both responsible and joyous and has this balance worked out until she is asked to dance with a fairy, and from this time forth she forgets her work. Although the fairy sees to it that her basket is full of spun fleece, Batushka knows for the first time guilt and longing and discontent. At the same time, she discovers ecstasy and the abandonment of herself. The fairies come to her aid and give her a magical chant, "Reel and grumble not, reel and grumble not," and her basket is full each night, spun as if, and indeed is, by magic. But her mother knows something is amiss. Her daughter is not the same, and she asks what is wrong. When Batushka finally tells her mother of the dancing and the fae, she breaks the spell, and she no longer has this magical help. Her mother grumbles, for she knows her daughter had met a wood maiden, one who often dances little boys to death, but who can be kind to little girls and offer them their help and great riches. What are we to make of this tale? To never accept magical help? That parents should allow children time to simply be children? But before the spell is broken, little Batushka is gifted birch leaves, which the wood maiden turns to gold. And although there are only a few, they suddenly have enough to buy a farm with good, rich land and strong, fine cattle, and their own well and trees. Batushka could have dancing shoes and lessons and pretty clothes to wear, but she never attains the same levels of content as she had before meeting the wood maiden, nor does she ever reach the ecstatic heights the fairy dance gave her. And she never meets the wood maiden, never again, even though she longed to dance with her every day. This is a card that encourages you to trust at this moment, that although what is taking place seems unreal and you will doubt your own experience, you would do best to trust that it has taken place for a reason. The gifts you have been offered need not be questioned. It is time to arrest cynicism and to be careful of who you share the gift with. Some will disbelieve you, and in some ways they will rob you of what is most precious. It is now a time to believe and to share, and to know that there is an other world, a fairyland, and its denizens are your allies at this time. Hold close this gift and trust that it is as it seems to be. It is good and it is true.